Okay, so you want to own a funeral home. A quiet building on a main road. Soft lights in the lobby. A viewing room with flowers near the front. A small office where families sit across from a funeral director. A hearse parked behind the building. A preparation room nobody sees. And a phone that can ring at any hour of the night. That is the picture. It sounds like one of the most stable businesses in the world. People may stop going to malls. They may stop buying movie tickets. They may stop eating at certain restaurants. But people do not stop dying. Every town needs a place to handle death. Every family needs someone to call. Every loss creates paperwork, transportation, decisions, and a ceremony. So the business sounds simple. Buy the building. Hire the funeral director. Keep a few caskets in a showroom. Answer the phone. Help the family. Collect the fee. That is the dream. And it is not entirely wrong. The problem is what happens between the phone call and the profit. Because a funeral home is not really a business about death. It is a business about trust at the worst moment in a family's life. And trust is hard to buy. Before we talk about money, we need to talk about what a funeral home actually is. A funeral home is not one business. It can be a chapel, a body transportation service, a preparation facility, a sales room, a grief support office, a paperwork service, a cremation arranger, a merchandise business, a local brand, and sometimes part of a larger cemetery or crematory network. Some funeral homes focus on traditional burial. Some focus on cremation. Some own their own crematory. Some outsource cremation to another facility. Some have chapels, reception rooms, and large viewing spaces. Some are small family-owned homes where the owner's name has been on the sign for 3 generations. Some are owned by regional consolidators or public companies. They all help families after a death. But financially, they are not the same machine. This is the first thing nobody tells you. You are not really buying a funeral home. You are buying local trust. The building matters. The license matters. The staff matters. The hearse matters. But the real asset is the family that says, when something happens, call them. That sentence is the business. Before a funeral home makes $1, it has to be ready for a call that may arrive at the worst possible time. That means staff, bariclas, refrigeration, preparation equipment, insurance, licenses, a clean building, a private arrangement room, a chapel or viewing room, a website, a phone line that always works, and people trained to speak calmly when the family on the other end cannot. That sounds like a list. It is really the cost of being available. A restaurant can close for a holiday. A funeral home cannot tell a family to call back on Monday. Death does not schedule itself around business hours. That is the first financial trap. The demand is unpredictable in timing, but the costs are constant. Payroll does not wait for the next death. Insurance does not wait. The building does not wait. The vehicle payment does not wait. The utilities do not wait. The funeral home has to be ready before the revenue arrives. Now, look at the industry from the outside. In the United States, there are more than 15,000 funeral homes. Most are still family-owned or privately owned. That matters, because the public often imagines this industry as a giant corporate machine. But in many towns, the funeral home is still a local name, a family name, a sign people have driven past for decades. That local reputation can be more valuable than the building itself. A new owner can buy the real estate. A new owner can buy the hearse. A new owner can buy the prep room. But they cannot instantly buy the community's memory. That is why this business is so attractive and so difficult at the same time. It has demand. It has repeat community awareness. It has high emotional trust. But it also has a very narrow window to prove itself. A family may choose a funeral home only a few times in a lifetime. And when they do, they are under stress. They are not comparison shopping like they are buying a sofa. They are making decisions while grieving. That gives the funeral director responsibility. It also creates regulation. In the United States, funeral providers must give consumers price information under the FTC funeral rule. The idea is simple. Families should be able to see itemized prices. They should not be forced to buy things they do not want. They should not be confused into thinking every package is required. That rule exists because this is not a normal sale. The customer is vulnerable. The timing is urgent. The emotional pressure is high, so the business can never be treated like an ordinary retail store. Now look at how the money comes in. The first revenue layer is the basic services fee. This is the charge for the funeral home's core professional work. The staff, the arrangement conference, the coordination, the permits, the paperwork, the planning, the overhead of being ready. Families may see this line on a price list and wonder why it exists. But from the funeral home's perspective, this fee is the base of the whole operation. It pays for the people and systems that make everything else possible. The second revenue layer is preparation and care of the body. This can include transportation, refrigeration, embalming, dressing, cosmetics, and preparation for viewing. Not every family chooses every service. Not every body requires the same work. Not every state has the same rules. But the funeral home must have the ability to handle the body properly, respectfully, and legally. That means specialized equipment, trained staff, sanitary procedures, liability risk, and a part of the building most customers never see. The third revenue layer is the ceremony, the viewing, the chapel service, the visitation, the staff on the day of the funeral, the guest book, the flowers, the printed materials, the coordination with clergy, cemeteries, crematories, musicians, military honors, newspapers, and family members who all need different answers at the same time. This is where the funeral home becomes an event company. But unlike a wedding planner, it does not get 6 months. Sometimes it gets 3 days. The fourth revenue layer is merchandise. Caskets, urns, keepsake jewelry, memorial folders, video tributes, register books, flowers, cemetery markers. The merchandise side can matter because the service itself is labor-heavy. A casket can carry a markup. An urn can carry a margin. A memorial package can raise the average ticket. But this is also where the industry gets sensitive, because families do not want to feel sold to, especially not in that room. A funeral director who pushes too hard may make more money once and lose trust for a generation. That is the second financial trap. The best sale is not always the biggest sale. Sometimes the most profitable long-term decision is to not sell the grieving family something they do not need. The fifth revenue layer is cremation. This is the biggest structural shift in the business. Cremation has become the majority choice in the United States. The cremation rate is projected to keep rising for decades. That changes everything. Traditional burial often includes more services. A casket, a viewing, a graveside ceremony, a cemetery plot, a vault, more transportation, more coordination. Cremation can be simpler, sometimes much simpler. Direct cremation can remove the viewing, the ceremony, the casket, and the cemetery from the funeral home's bill. That can be good for families. It can be painful for funeral home economics. Because the fixed costs remain. The building is still there. The staff is still there. The vehicles still need maintenance. The insurance is still there. But the average ticket may be lower. That is the third financial trap. Everybody still dies, but not everybody buys the same funeral. A funeral home can have steady call volume and still feel pressure if the mix shifts from full-service burial to low-cost cremation. The sixth revenue layer is pre-need. This is when people arrange and sometimes pay for funeral services before death. For the family, it can reduce stress later. For the funeral home, it can create future volume, customer lock-in, and a stronger pipeline. But pre-need is not free money. It is regulated. The funds may need to be held in trust or backed by insurance, depending on the state and structure. The funeral home may make the sale today, but perform the service years later. That creates a timing problem. Costs can rise. Regulations can change. The customer can move. The funeral home can be sold. The promise survives longer than the person who sold it. That is why pre-need can be powerful, but also dangerous if it is mismanaged. Now look at the costs. So far, this sounds like a stable business. P+D. Families call. Services are arranged. Revenue comes in. But here is the other side of the ledger. A funeral home carries fixed costs like a small hotel, an event venue, a medical adjacent service, a vehicle fleet, and a local professional office at the same time. The building has to look calm. The preparation room has to work. The vehicles have to run. The staff has to be trained. The insurance has to cover serious risk. The licenses have to stay clean. The phone has to be answered. The website has to be findable. And the reputation has to survive every single service. One bad funeral can do damage that no advertisement can fix. That is the strange part of this business. The customer may only use you once, but the town remembers what happened. Now build a simple, small funeral home model. Imagine a funeral home handles 150 calls a year. That is about 3 services a week. If the average revenue per call is around $6,000, annual revenue is about $900,000. That sounds good, but now subtract the business. Licensed funeral directors, part-time staff, embalming or preparation labor, facility maintenance, vehicle payments, fuel, insurance, utilities, marketing, administrative staff, merchandise inventory, compliance, debt service, and the owner's salary. Suddenly, the business does not look like a machine that prints money. It looks like a local service company that has to maintain a very serious building, a very serious staff, and a very serious reputation on unpredictable volume. Now change one variable. The funeral home still gets 150 calls, but more families choose direct cremation. The average revenue drops from $6,000 to $3,500. Revenue falls from $900,000 to $525,000. The building did not shrink. The insurance did not shrink. The phone did not stop ringing. The staff still has to answer. That is how a stable demand business starts to feel unstable. The body count is not the whole business. The service mix is. This is why cremation is both a threat and an opportunity. A weak funeral home sees cremation as a lower ticket. A strong funeral home asks what else the family still needs. A memorial service, a celebration of life, a better urn, a keepsake, a gathering space, a live stream, a video tribute, a permanent marqueur, a cemetery niche, a place to return to. The family may not want a traditional funeral, but they may still want meaning. That is where the business shifts. From burial to memorialization. From casket to experience. From one package to many choices. Now look at what happens when capital enters the industry. For a buyer, funeral homes can look very attractive. The demand is not trendy. The customer need is unavoidable. The industry is fragmented. Many owners are older. Many businesses are family-owned. And a good operator can buy several homes, centralize some back-office work, negotiate better purchasing, share vehicles, own a crematory, and improve margins. That is the roll-up story. It sounds logical, and sometimes it works. But the funeral home industry has already seen what happens when the roll-up story becomes too aggressive. The Lowen Group is the cautionary tale. Lowen grew by buying funeral homes and cemeteries. It was trying to turn a local, relationship-based industry into a larger corporate platform. The idea made sense on paper. Buy independent operators. Use scale. Increase efficiency. Capture a stable demand base. But debt changed the story. By 1999, Lowen was under pressure from billions of dollars in debt, accumulated in part through acquisitions. Sales and operational problems made the pressure worse. The business that looked stable became a debt problem, and the company filed for bankruptcy protection. That is the fourth financial trap. Stable demand cannot save a bad balance sheet. A funeral home can be local, trusted, and useful. But if the buyer paid too much and borrowed too much, the math can still break. The failure does not have to look like an empty factory. It may look like a familiar sign on the same road, the same chapel, the same parking lot, the same community. But behind the sign, the owner has changed, the debt has grown, the back office has been centralized, the staff is under pressure, and a spreadsheet is now more important than a handshake. That is one death shape of this business, not the death of demand, the death of trust. Now compare the weak version with the strong version. The weak version buys a funeral home because everyone dies. It looks at the call volume. It looks at the average ticket. It assumes the past will continue. It cuts staff too quickly. It changes the name too aggressively. It pushes merchandise too hard. It treats local grief like a national spreadsheet. That can work for a quarter. It can fail for a decade. The strong version starts with trust. It keeps the local face if the local face matters. It understands which families choose burial and which choose cremation. It owns or controls the cremation process if the market is moving that way. It prices clearly. It trains staff carefully. It uses pre-need ethically. It adds memorial options without making families feel trapped. It manages costs without making the service feel cheap. That is a different business. Same building, different economics. This is why Service Corporation International became so important. SCI is not just one funeral home. It is a network. More than 1,900 funeral homes and cemeteries across North America. At that scale, the company is not only selling individual services. It is managing brands, locations, cemeteries, pre-need contracts, purchasing power, real estate, and local market positions. A single family-owned home lives or dies by its local reputation. A large platform can spread risk across markets. It can buy in major metropolitan areas. It can pair funeral homes with cemeteries. It can invest in systems. It can keep multiple brands so the business still feels local. That is the success model. Not just death, distribution, trust, scale, real estate, and the ability to offer many ways to say goodbye. But even large operators cannot escape the main shift. Cremation changes the average ticket. Price transparency changes the sales process. Younger families may want simpler services. Older families may still prefer traditional ceremonies. Religious customs vary. Immigrant communities may have different funeral practices. Rural towns may behave differently from large cities. A funeral home is national in theme, but local in economics. That is why the same business can be wonderful in one town and difficult in another. In a town with deep family roots, strong burial traditions, and limited competition, a funeral home can be a durable local asset. In a city with many providers, high cremation rates, price-sensitive families, and online comparison shopping, the same building may struggle. Same industry, different ledger. Now look at the future. The funeral home of the next 20 years may not look like the funeral home of the last 50. More cremation, more direct cremation, more green burial, more aquamation where allowed, more human composting where legal, more live-streamed memorials, more personalized ceremonies, more families who do not want a traditional chapel service, more families who still want something meaningful, but not the old package. The winners will not be the operators who pretend nothing is changing. The winners will be the ones who understand what families still need after the old package breaks apart. They need clarity. They need speed. They need dignity. They need someone to handle the body properly. They need a place to gather or a way to remember without gathering. They need paperwork handled. They need prices they can understand. They need to feel that the person across the table is not using their grief against them. That is the real business. Not the casket, not the chapel, not the hearse. Those are tools. The real business is trust under pressure. So if you decide to own a funeral home, understand what you are actually buying. You're buying a building people hope they never need. A phone that can ring at 2 a.m. A staff that has to be calm when everyone else is not. A local reputation that took decades to build. A regulatory system designed for vulnerable customers. A service mix being reshaped by cremation. A cost structure that does not disappear when families choose a cheaper option. And a moral line you cross at your own risk. Because this business can make money. It can be stable. It can be valuable. It can be consolidated, financed, expanded, and optimized. But it is not just another local service business. The customer is grieving. The decision is urgent. The memory lasts. You thought the business was death. But death is only the event. The body is not the business. The trust around it is.